Hello guys, PinkImpulse here with a long-awaited review of Diablo IV. Welcome to the space station. Hello guys, and welcome back for another video. Welcome back to the station, and welcome back to the space station. Thank you guys for joining. First and foremost, the first thing that I want to say is that there will be spoilers in this video. So if you are not looking to have anything ruined for you, this is probably not the best time for you to watch it. If you want to come back and watch the review later, I would appreciate it. But it is not the time to watch it now if you do not want spoilers. So please, again, I will put another spoiler warning before, but I will be talking about certain things in the game that you will not see until later on. So again, this is your spoiler warning. Do not watch this video if you do not want anything spoiled. Thank you. Diving right into the first thing that I would like to talk about today is gameplay. I believe that Diablo IV right now is the best hack and slash in regards to what they do best. Diablo IV, Diablo III, Diablo II have been regarded as one of the best hack and slash games in general, especially when we're talking about Diablo II and Diablo II Resurrected. Diablo III was great at the time, but I think we eventually saw the faults, the problems with it over time. But I think Diablo IV, as of now, is just what Blizzard does best when it comes to a Diablo game. It really is just a great, fun hack and slash. We're seeing things that I love personally that had huge environmental changes. We're going from Act 1 to Act 2 with such a seamless transition. These things actually blew my mind. The best way I can describe it is if you've been to Disneyland and you've been to Galaxy's Edge before, there's a part when you're walking into Galaxy's Edge and you realize that all the noise kind of fades away until you realize that you're kind of getting into this land of Star Wars. That's the best way I can describe it. You have this seamless transition of Disneyland that's loud and noisy, and then you walk through this slight cave that's maybe 30 feet long until you realize that they are opening you up to a whole new world. And that's how I felt with the transitions in this game. We went from a snowy place just to a place where all the snow had melted to a rainy, foresty, dark, deep, dungeon-based area. And then after that, you have places in Act 3, 4, 5 where you're looking at lava all over. You have dungeons that are creepy. You have catacombs. There's so many environmental changes in this game, and that is something I really appreciate. Another part of the gameplay that I really enjoy, and I've talked about this in a previous Diablo IV video, is the combat. The combat feels great. I had played a rogue and a druid in the beta, and I, as a bow player, always choose the rogue first in pretty much any class. Anyone who can wield a bow and arrow is the class I'm going for first. And it still holds true that I really do love the way that the gameplay feels. The sounds with the gameplay just mesh so well. It's such an unbelievable and seamless thing that they've done to have both of these really just work together. When you're slashing things, when you're shooting arrows at things, you're seeing your fellow necromancer or sorceress player casting their spells. I mean, really, it just sounds amazing. I've noticed personally that with the rogue, a lot of the spells that you can cast, the things that you can do in this game, they're very spatial. The rapid fire and the penetrating shot just sound like you can hear them in a distance. When you hear a fireball coming from another monster, you could hear the fireball as if it's coming from behind your headset, which really is just such an amazing thing that they even took the time. If you've seen the videos of Diablo IV, they really did take their time trying to make all of these sounds as organic as possible, and it really is such an incredible thing to see these in action and also play through the game and also hear them. One that really sticks out to me is the shaman that keeps resurrecting things, and it sounds like someone is getting a tambourine or something in that regard and just shaking it in your ear. That always just blows my mind. I also hate killing those things. They're super annoying and super annoying to go against. Wow. But that was one of the things that when the game came out, and still to this day, when I see those, I believe they're called Carver Shamans, they blow my mind with the noise that they make. It sounds like a rattlesnake is just in your ear. It's beautiful. Jumping into the next part of the review that I want to talk about, which is one of, again, my favorite parts of so many things in this game are my favorite parts, is the story and the things that they have shown. So again, this is where a huge spoiler warning is going to be displayed. Please, if you do not want to see these things, click off now. I'm going to be talking about some spoilers and things in the game that you will probably not want to see if you like the story and lore. There were a couple of things in this game that really just got me excited. The first thing was hearing the name Andariel. Andariel. As a huge Diablo 2 fan, I mean, the 10-year-old me was jumping up and down, and the people that I were playing with in my group, my brother and my best friend, I mean, we heard those names and we lost our mind for a quick second. Until, you know, it took a little time to get there. But my God, I want you guys to listen to this clip of when we first see Andariel and just lose our mind. I mean, it really was just such a fun part in the story and game for them to show that we really just, we went off. Here you go.
What's up, guys?
Really?
Oh, yeah!
Oh my gosh!
Hey!
Yes! Holy shit, dude!
What the fuck?
Oh my God!
Oh my god!
That's
dude.
fucking crazy.
Oh
Holy
my
shit.
A lot
God!
of damage. That's so sick.
And she
Oh my God.
looks so
Oh
cool,
my
dude.
God! Dude, I have the biggest fucking smile on my face.
Me too. Me too.
Holy shit.
No.
And then shortly after that, in one of the acts, we
There was,
see
like, no
Duriel
love,
just
no.
pop out of nowhere. There was no
no.
cue for Duriel to come in. He just showed up out of the ground, explosive. We were also losing our minds seeing Duriel come out. But Andariel was just a different beast. Seeing that and having the two phases of fighting Andariel really was just spectacular. I absolutely love that part of the game. And Diablo 4 and the team have actually shocked me this time to the point where I was like, wow, you actually caught me off guard. I realized that you guys talked about these characters, but to see not only one, but two of them in action was really a blast from the past, and I loved every second of it. Going into the deeper part of the story and what I was going to talk about next is the cinematics. The cinematics for every Blizzard game, as long as I can remember, have always been incredible. And Diablo 4 does not sell themselves short in this department either. From Warcraft 3, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, they've all been exceptional. But when I was looking at the story and watching the cinematics from the blood petals on the floor, I loved it. I really did. But in Act 6, when you see the war, the fight between Inarius and Lilith start to go down, we were all sitting there in silence for the 5-minute cinematic and blown away for every single second of it. When we actually unmuted our microphones while we were playing this game, we just all said, holy shit, this is actually incredible, and let's just progress through the story, because you wanted to play through. You had the urgency to keep going as the story was progressing through the cinematics. That was something they did so beautifully. As you're watching these cinematics, you're like, let's go. Like, let's keep on fighting these monsters and demons and progress through the story. It really just was so much more fun for some reason to really go side by side with the cinematic and jumping straight into the game. That leads me to another portion where I believe the boss fights in this game were very fun. Some of them were a little underwhelming, but that's okay because not every boss fight has to be a spectacular just event of just craziness. I believe some of the ones that stood out were Andariel, just because she was Andariel. But even that fight wasn't insane. The Lilith fight at the end of the game was spectacular. I really enjoyed that one. But there was one where this guy is just sitting there playing this violin, and the way they bring in this harping music that's so dark and ominous really just struck a chord before you get into the fight. Again, the boss fight was good. It was nothing amazing. But even just building it up before you fight the boss got you hyped up enough to really kill this boss. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the end game. The end game is something that I was a little hesitant on to see how far it was actually going to go, because already while filming this, someone has reached hardcore level 100, and I believe there are about 5 or 10 people probably after him already done with it or well on the way. So I was a little scared that the end game was just going to be here a little too soon, but those are also the less than 1% of players who really dedicate a lot of their time into this game. So getting into the end game, you have different world tiers. You have the capstone dungeons. You have a vast Paragon board, multiple of Paragon boards. You have Codex of Power, which helps you switch up your game plan throughout the game. You have the Nightmarish dungeons, which I personally love. You have Hell Tides, which are incredible. World bosses like Ashava, and another one that I fought. You also have the Tree of Whispers, and then the PvP area, which is the Fields of Hatred. Altogether, there is a lot of content already, and Season 1 isn't even here yet, so I'm looking very forward to seeing like the seasonal content, the battle passes, what they're going to do, everything behind what is to come for Season 1 is what I'm very excited for, because I know that the Diablo team, the devs, everyone behind it is putting in so much time to make sure that this is the game that will always stand the test of time. We're already seeing many patch notes, nerfs coming out, which brings me to my next point, the Rogue. I am someone who, I stated earlier, loves to play a bow and arrow class. And unfortunately, in this game, I tried to make it as viable as possible without having to theory craft or dig too deep into it. But as we know, which is totally fine, there's always a meta for every certain class, like the Druid, the Necromancer, the Sorceress. But right now, it seems that the Rogue is just not very viable in the range. So I went from like range, and then I tried the Twisted Blades mid-game, and it like didn't really work because I didn't have the proper aspect for it. And then I tried range again, and then I went back to flurry. I am having a great time because I've realized that when you are strong in a game, you're having fun in a game. Even though it's not my preferred build, it's something that I would have liked to at least try a bit more. But maybe that comes with more theory crafting or builds coming out. But also, as I stated earlier again, this is where buffs and nerfs come in. Maybe they're noticing that the bow and arrow class is not very strong, and or many of the other classes in certain departments. So it's just something that I'm going to wait out, which will be totally fine, and just see how it goes. All in all, Diablo IV, after waiting and being at BlizzCon in 2019 and seeing the hype and going through a whole pandemic, and we're finally here, 2023, the game is finally here, has lived up to its hype. I think I speak for many when I say that they have learned from the problems from the previous games, whether that be the end game activity, the damage scaling, but I also think that the biggest thing is genuinely having nonstop patch notes and updates like they did even in the middle of beta, for instance with the Necromancer and the Sorceress. I love that aspect, and that we're finally here in a very futuristic part of being able to play an AARPG with constant patch notes. This is a premier hack and slash. Diablo 4 has not let us down, and I am here for it. And again, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will be doing more of these Diablo update videos, as well as I hope a Rogue bow and arrow video soon. Take care, guys. Bye.